afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio. We are in the town of Geraldine, Alabama right now. So good to be with you. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find us on the web. You go to icradio.media and find us that way. Okay, we have our sports guy out here. His name is AP Steadham. He hosts another talk show as well. Actually, a couple more talk shows. You're kind of all over the place, AP. Did you have a good Christmas?
Very good, Donna. Thank you so much. That was it was a true Christmas in Alabama with the cold temperatures.
I'm still not over it. I'm ready for the summertime to come. I want to have my garden, and I'll be happy.
Right. The only thing we didn't have was snow. I don't know about y'all if they had it up in North Alabama.
Light dusting.
Light dusting. Okay.
But it was enough, though, to where everybody was buying all the bread and milk.
Right. Yeah. There's a stampede for bread and milk. Sure.
It always is a stampede. But anyway, it was a good Christmas after all, and it's had a good time. But I'm always ready for it to be over so we can move on to the next great thing. And sports is always a great thing.
Oh, this is the bowl season, Donna, so a lot of football games being played, especially in the next the couple of weeks here. The SEC has 11 teams in the bowl system. So we had a couple teams play. Florida lost to Oregon State. Florida had, not their starting quarterback because he moved on. And then Missouri, they lost to Wake Forest, and Florida lost to Oregon State 30-3 it was. So now we have a bunch of bowl games this week. All the teams will be playing. To give you an idea, we have Kansas plays Arkansas on the 28th. We have Texas Tech and Ole Miss. Notre Dame, South Carolina, Tennessee, Clemson. We all know the Tennessee fans. They're fired up. Orange versus Orange in the Orange Bowl. Couldn't get more orange. Couldn't get more orange, right? Then you have Alabama plays Kansas State for the very first time those two teams meet in the Sugar Bowl. I don't believe Kansas State played in the Sugar Bowl before. So there's going to be a lot of purple in New Orleans to go along with the purple that's already down in New Orleans. They're going to overload it. So then you have Iowa, Kentucky, and Nashville, Mississippi State, Illinois, LSU, Purdue. And then we have the big game, Ohio State plays Georgia in the semifinal of the college football playoff. That's the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. That's on the night of the 31st of December. So a lot of good matchups. And, Donna, but it doesn't mean as much, Donna, I don't think, because so many players, they opt out of the game. You're trying to get a true indication of who has the better conferences when they play in these bowl games. But now it's kind of a mixed bag. You really can't get a true assessment like in the past. So I think it's taken some of the luster off the games. But, hey, like a game like Tennessee and Clemson, it should be exciting. Two teams with the quarterbacks. Joe Milton's going to substitute for Hendon Hooker, who was injured. He had a fabulous season. And Donna, the Tennessee quarterback, he had the one vote in the Heisman by the fans, Donna. All the thousands of people that voted culminated in him getting the one vote for the Heisman Trophy. And then you have Cade Klubnik for Clemson. He was the backup to the quarterback that transferred from Clemson, DJ Uiagalelei. So it should be a good ball game. Those two coaches going against each other. Dabo Swinney for Clemson and Josh Heupel for Tennessee in the Orange Bowl. The orange and orange in the Orange Bowl.
I think, as far as I'm concerned, the Donna Feazell thing, that's the one game I'm not going to miss. I want to make sure I see that one.
Yeah, they don't play very often, Donna, those two teams. I'm not sure the historical record, but I don't recall them playing through the year. So, and the fans, they're excited because, Tennessee has 10 wins now. They could get to 11. Clemson has 11 wins, can get to 12. So there's a lot of pride because those teams, they recruit against each other, especially in the state of Georgia and Atlanta area. And then Tennessee's always ventured over to the Carolinas to recruit players. So it's important for those two teams, I think, in the coaching staffs.
I think so, too. And we've seen a lot of changes happen. Let's just kind of walk through the past couple of years with Tennessee. I mean, you and I have been predicting this, that they would be up there in the high rankings.
Yeah, and Don, it's funny because Joe Milton, the quarterback that will play in the Orange Bowl, he had transferred from Michigan. He was the original starter last
Mhm.
year, 2021, and then Hendon Hooker transferred from Virginia Tech, and he took over for Joe Milton. But Joe Milton, he substituted for Hendon, and the Vanderbilt game. I guess the score was 56-0, I believe. So he's a big, strong quarterback, 6'4", 6'5", can throw the ball a mile. His question is the accuracy, but he can definitely put points on the board because Tennessee has excellent receivers, running back, offensive line. Hyatt, the outstanding wide receiver, the Biletnikoff Award winner, has opted out of the bowl game for Tennessee, so that's one less player. But Donna, you always get an opportunity as the reserve player to contribute and make some big plays for your team. So that's the way I always view it. Okay, you're out. One player from your roster opts out, going to go to the NFL. Somebody else has to catch those passes. Let it be me. That's what I say. Let it be me.
I think so too. Sometimes, this has happened more than once. Sometimes it comes down to the kicker. So, who has the best kicker of the two?
Well, we know that Tennessee's kicker made that game-winning field goal against Alabama to stop that streak about 14 games or so. So we know he's pretty clutch. Clemson's kicker, I don't know much about him, but Donna, it's funny when you review the kickers and you're looking at their records, it's how they kick that day. It's like golf. How do you putt that day? How do you drive that day? I
Everything
mean,
else just is a wash.
right,
You're
right.
starting over.
Correct. You could be a perfect field goal kicker, making all the extra points and the field goals. But that day, how do you kick on that day is what's important. Now you're looking for percentages. You're going with the percentages. Well, we know that Tennessee had a kicker who won a big game against Alabama with a field goal kick. I think it's 40 yards. So he's been in a clutch situation. We know for sure.
Well, and then we're into the winter weather too. Who knows what's going to happen with wind and rain and snow?
Right. And, yeah. And that particular game in South Florida should be fine. Maybe it gets a little cool. It's a little bit unusual type of weather. That can happen, even in South Florida. But some of these other games, Kentucky and Iowa playing in Nashville, that could be cold. But I think the weather's supposed to warm up. I haven't checked all the weather for these different bowl games. Alabama, Kansas State is in the Dome in New Orleans, so that should be 72 degrees, perfect. Some of these other ball games, Illinois and Mississippi State. But I tell you, a game that could be cold down is sometime in Jacksonville. It gets cold in Jacksonville. South Carolina and Notre Dame. I've seen it before. That's going to be pretty
That's
cool.
going to be a hot game. That's going to be a good game there too.
Yeah. I think the South Carolina fans, that's just down the highway, the interstate from South Carolina to Jacksonville. I think they're going to have a big crowd because down in why wouldn't they? They're so fired up about the last two wins to beat Tennessee by 20-something points in Columbia, and then go on the road to Clemson, a team we talk about quite a bit outside of the Southeastern Conference, and win by 1 point. That's their arch rival. They hadn't won in 7 years. So if I'm a Carolina fan, they've only played Notre Dame, I think it's 4 times, down to 3 or 4 times. I'm going to be at that ball game. If the weather's good, I'm going to be at that ball
game. Yeah, I was going to ask which one you're going to attend.
Yeah.
I grew up with a football crazy family. I mean, we had a small TV. So that would come out of my brother's room, and then we had the big TV and another one. So we had 3 TVs going on at the same time, and we also had the radio going on. So, I mean, we tried to keep up with all of them at the same time. We were that football nuts.
Oh, I believe it. And nowadays, Donna, they have the picture-in-picture. You can get it. You can buy the television for an economical price. Oh, yeah, I know people have 3 TVs in the same room watching 3 TVs at once.
That's what we used to do.
Of all the games, right? Big TVs, not a small one, big TVs, yeah.
And then you got your must-go food. I mean, you have your pizza out there, the chicken wings, all of those things. And so
those qualify. Those make the list for sure. The pizza and the chicken wings. Might throw a hamburger in there too, possibly.
Yeah. And Phil's favorite Chex Mix. We have to have that in there too.
Oh, he likes those too. Okay. That's something to do as well.
So let's get back to Tennessee and Clemson just for a second. So how do you it's hard to predict. Who knows who's going to win? I mean, this is going to be one of those games. But if Tennessee were to win, How do you
Right.
think that's going to put them in the rankings? Of course, I know a lot of variables. A lot of other folks would have to win, lose, whatever.
Yeah, if they end up with 11 wins for the season, Donna, they'll have a loss against Georgia, who's one of the 4 teams in the playoffs, and South Carolina. And it'd be nice if South Carolina could win as well, because that would help Tennessee in the rankings. Because that means they lost to a team that was really hot at the end of the season, and people probably vote them much higher than if they lose the bowl game. So Tennessee could end up. Tennessee could end up, I think, in the top 5. Donna, they could. They'll have the 4 teams in the playoffs. Tennessee could be that next team, 5, 6, 7. They could be right in there, which would be fabulous for them. I think it's pretty important for them to end the season with a victory, because they played so well most of the season. They had that one game against South Carolina. They went on the road. Just the defense was porous. I mean, gave up 63 points. Their defense, I think, is 45th in scoring, but their offense was at the top. So that's how they've been able to win so many games. That offense was prolific. So, but I
Well,
think they can win this game. 11 wins on the season. I mean, they're going to be feeling tremendous. Although they're going to have a new quarterback next year, but the recruiting went well. Top 10 recruiting. So Josh Heupel, they've got it going on, and Knoxville, Tennessee. We've been discussing that team for years, Donna, for the rise of the Volunteers.
yeah. What do you think's going to happen with Auburn? It was a disappointing season, but do you think they're on the right track now with the new coach?
Right. The new coach, he flipped a lot of Power 5 commitments that were going to be attending other schools down. I think it was in the neighborhood of 6 or 7. I mean, it wasn't like he was taking people from the lower level FCS or some of these other conferences. It was from Power 5 conferences. And Auburn ended up being, I think, in the top 20 for recruiting, which is really an unbelievable accomplishments, since he was on board just 2 or 3 weeks, and he was able to get some of these players that were committed to Power 5 schools, some of them in the SEC, matter of fact. So that's a good sign for future recruiting. Now it's just a question. Has to find a quarterback. I think he's still on the prowl, Hugh Freeze, for a quarterback. He's still looking around because there's some quarterbacks out there. And then, Donna, you have the bowl games, and they have that 45-day window to transfer. So that's December 5th to January 18th. So the bowl games will be played. Now there will be more people to transfer in the portal. Then you have a window in May 1st to the 15th. You're going to have the spring games, and then more people will transfer, probably quarterbacks, because it's up for debate who will be the starting quarterbacks. You have the spring ball, and the coaches are evaluating you, and they might say, look, we feel that so-and-so is going to be the starter. Maybe you want to move on. So that transfer portal has those 2 windows where you're trying to acquire players and talent. So, Donna, the thing that puzzles me all the time about this transfer portal, there's 130, I think it's 130 FBS teams times 8. That's over 11,000 players. So potentially, 11,000 players can transfer. So how do you keep up with 11,000 players? Because when they hit that transfer portal, 2 things happen. Either they know exactly which school they're going to transfer to within the conference, outside the conference, or they're not sure. And so when you get a phone call, you've got to give them an answer. Are we interested or not? So how do you keep that on file? And I'm thinking to myself, all right, we're going to have a couple of categories here. Let's look at all the players in our conference. Let's look at all the players that we would accept, to try to streamline the amount of attention that we devote, our staff devotes to looking at all these players. Because how can you evaluate 11,000 players now? I mean, that's some manpower, right? I mean, to evaluate 11,000 people, they have a little dossier on 11,000 different players. So I'm thinking these coaches, they have to devise this plan to cut down on the evaluation process for their staff, because I don't know if you can do that. I mean, I guess you can, but it takes time.
That would be tough. You'd have to break that down into teams of people who would help do that, and then the team leaders would have to come up with an evaluation based on what they see out there. Hey, Pete, let's go ahead and head into a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. with everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest My Pillow sale. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest and go with our Roll and Go Anywhere My Pillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have My Pillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing My Pillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop view, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. At Miracle Pottery, each pottery item is hand-turned from durable stoneware, clay body, and non-scratch high-fire glaze. Dishwasher oven and microwave safe, our handcrafted dinnerware and bakeware will last a lifetime, staying just as beautiful as the day it was born. Each pot is signed first with a cross in thanks to our Lord, our name, and then the year. We say a tiny prayer for the receiver of each piece that they receive abundant blessings in their lives. It's not just about pottery. We're located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains near Mentone and Valley Head, Alabama. Miracle Pottery is nestled at the base of the hills at 7871 Alabama Highway 117 between Gadsden, Alabama and Chattanooga, Tennessee. Please go to our website, miraclepottery.com, for more info about our other getaway cottages. You can also call us at 256-635-6863. We're back. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio. We are located in North Alabama. Again, thank you so much for watching our show every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as we get to ride home with you in the afternoon. AP Steadham is riding home with us in the afternoon. It's a lot of fun, isn't it, AP?
Oh, it sure is. It sure is, Donna. Yeah, it sure. Hey, Donna, I was looking something over about the bowl games, Donna. And if certain teams win their game, the SEC, Donna, could have 7 teams. That's half the league, 7 out of the 14, with 9 wins or more. And I'm not sure if the SEC ever had 7 teams with 9 wins. That would be spectacular.
Really yeah. I'm from the South. I want us to win. I mean, we got the best weather. I know it's been cold the past few days, but we got it all going on here. And our mamas will feed you, too, when you come into our town.
Yes.
But it's so great. Let's kind of think about next year. Okay, with the lineup, with the new coaches and new players and that kind
Right.
of thing, let's just kind of go out on a limb and talk about who you think your top five would be.
Yeah, well, Don, I'd say the first thing you're always looking at, Don, is the quarterback for each team because that's so important, as we know. And this is an offensive era of football where teams are scoring quite a few points. So when you look at that next year, let's reflect back to this year. The top teams: Ohio State will probably have a new quarterback. Georgia will have a new quarterback. Michigan will have their quarterback returning. TCU will have a different quarterback. So those are the top four teams right now. You look at Alabama; they will have a new quarterback. Tennessee will have a new quarterback. LSU will have their quarterback returning Jaden Daniels. So that's important. I'm trying. Oh, Caleb Williams, the quarterback for USC, will return. He won the Heisman Trophy, so that's important.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these teams, Donna, we're going to have to find out about the quarterback. And if you have a big game early, and you could stumble because your quarterback is new. Not to say they won't be very good by the end of the season, but maybe this is their first year they're starting. So that's a huge factor when you're trying to determine the top teams in the country. Now they all have talent. I mean, Alabama, number one recruiting class, so they're going to be good. It's just a question of your quarterback and how he's going to lead that team. Tennessee, they're on the rise. We know that. Georgia recruits well. We know that they're going to be one of the better teams, even with a different quarterback. Ohio State's the same thing. Michigan is getting better and better each year. I mean, they beat Ohio State twice now, back to back, at home in Ann Arbor last year, on the road in Columbus by 22 points. So they're feeling good about their program. USC is going to get more players. Lincoln Riley, he's very good in the transfer portal. Texas, I think, will probably be better. But Donna, Texas, they have the mentality that they're a big time program, no question. They're a blue blood program, but they have to get used to winning the big games when the pressure is on them. You win one game, and then the next week you falter against somebody where you're a big favorite. They have to get over that issue with their program, with their culture. So you look at Florida State. Florida State can win 10 games this year. So are they going to get better next year? I believe so. Clemson, we know that they have the talent, but they're going to have different quarterback. The quarterback that's starting will probably be the starting quarterback for them. So that's big for the Tigers. I'm trying to think of some other team. Penn State, they're going to have I think it's a different quarterback up there, but they've been recruiting well. We mentioned Ohio State, Michigan. I'm trying to think of the other teams. In the SEC, Texas A&M, a new quarterback. Arkansas has their quarterback returning. Missouri, the same quarterback. Florida, they're trying to find themselves. They faltered at the end. They ended up 6-7. They'll have a new quarterback. So, but I think it's going to be mainly the teams that we usually discuss. But there's the chance of a team like USC, they can make a breakthrough and get in the college football. I would say if I had right now this far off projecting, I think USC, as I said this year, was the team to watch. That was my surprise team nationally, so I think that's a team to watch. Getting very high in the polls next year, USC. But in the SEC, it's going to be Alabama, it's going to be Georgia, it's going to be Tennessee, LSU. LSU won the SEC Western Division with the first-year coach Brian Kelly, and we know that second year of your system, usually you're playing better. So I think LSU in that SEC Western Division. If I had to project right now, I'm thinking watch out for those Bengal Tigers down in Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. Alabama lost just a little bit of luster, just a little bit this past year. What do they need to do to be a powerhouse like they were before?
Right. I think, Don, they lost 2 games by 4 points, close games, both on the road. But I think they have to upgrade at the wide receiver position. And I don't mean you have to have All-Americans, Don. I mean you have to catch the ball with consistency. And I think defensively, they've got to put some pressure on that quarterback, find a good combination. And I think they've got to maybe simplify in the defensive backfield where they're playing fast, not making some mistakes. I think that Tennessee game down there, they were very stubborn. When you had Hyatt, the wide receiver, have 5 touchdowns. Down when he had 2 touchdowns, I'm thinking, well, they're going to try to shut him down. Now anybody but him is going to score another touchdown. We had 3 more. So that was a little bit of stubbornness on their part. And I think they got to mix up the man coverage and the zone coverage because some of these wide receivers now, they're too difficult to guard. So you've got to keep them in front of you and try to play tough in the red zone, 20 yards, 25 yards, and into the goal line. So, but they're going to have a new quarterback down there. But that's going to be a battle. You got a freshman coming in from Louisiana. You have Simpson and Milroe on the roster right now, young quarterbacks. I don't know who's going to be the quarterback for that team. Maybe they have to use 2. I'm not sure right now.
Well, it's going to be another exciting year. It always is. About a little bit over 3 minutes left in this segment. Let's finish it off with As We See It with AP and Kelly. So what's the future of As We See It with AP and Kelly? Basketball coming in.
Yeah, basketball coming in. It's AP and Kelly As We See It. It's heard every Friday on IC Radio at 4 p.m. on Donna's station. We really appreciate it. And Donna, we try to have some interesting guests. Each and every week we had a couple head coaches from the SEC on our show, so we were really delighted. We had Heisman Trophy winners, we had some dads, we had some moms, we had some columnists, we had some radio broadcasters. So we always try to keep it fresh. And with the basketball down, especially in the state of Alabama and Auburn, nationally ranked. The Final Four this year will be in Houston, Don. I hope to be there. But the league is good. Tennessee has a good basketball team. Kentucky's always a force. Then you have, LSU with their new coach and quite a few new coaches in the conference. So I think the SEC will be well represented in the NCAA tournament. But at AP and Kelly, like I said, we always try to have somebody that maybe it's a voice that you don't hear very often. And we try to do that each and every week, Donna, with our guests. And last week, for instance, Donna, we had Angelique Shangelis. She's the beat writer, covers University of Michigan for the Detroit newspaper. So we had her to preview the Michigan-TCU game. She was funny and informative. So we try to get different kind of people because we emphasize the SEC, AP and Kelly, as we see it, capital S, capital E, capital C. But we also keep an eye on the national scene, Donna, because those are the teams that will compete against the SEC team. So you have to keep an eye on them as well. So we try to have fun with each and every guest every week.
Let's go. Well, your show is a success, and we're very happy for you.
Thank you so much, Don. Well, yeah, you contributed mightily. Believe me, because you spread the word for us and let us discuss it.
You got you a good mate there, too. Kelly's really good.
I tell everyone, Kelly makes me look and sound good on radio, Don.
She got that going on. She really does. But I really like the emphasis, the way she appears and the way she approaches, and she handles you pretty good. You needed somebody like that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, she does. She keeps me on the straight and narrow for sure. And she brings out the best in me, Don. She does. She'll ask some probing questions, and she calls herself the people's reporter.
And she is. I really do like her. She's really awesome. Just a few seconds left in this game. So who's the coach to look out for next year in football?
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple if you're looking at the Southeastern Conference, Donna, at least because, Jimbo Fisher, he's got to turn that around. Your contract is $75 million. They're expecting more than what they delivered this year. Losing season, there's no way anybody projected a losing season for Texas A&M. So, and I think Brian Kelly at LSU in his second year now, he's won the SEC Western Division. What a standard he already set.
We're going to have to go. Thank you, Happy, for being on the show. It's always so much fun.
My pleasure.
Take care.